So it's a pleasure for us to share your experience on this project today, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. I suppose the reason why I put this project forward is because a lot of guys here today are talking about projects, some good projects from other people here, talking about clean projects. I'm talking about clean projects as in everything is symmetrical. Everything was the model is as it is. You see it as it is. But with this project, this was a refurbishment. At the time, it was the biggest office refurbishment in the country at the time. Had 7 levels with the plant put on the roof, and not only that, but it had 3 different buildings actually put together. So we had to build a model around 3 buildings that really weren't the same. They were really different buildings, and that was a big issue for us. The second issue, and I suppose another reason why we put this forward, and I spoke about it last time I was here to see it, was because we actually had no responsibility to deliver this project. We had no responsibility to the client. The client didn't request this. This was something that we chose to do. So between ourselves and some other stakeholders on this project, we went and we delivered this project. So again, we had no, I suppose we had no legal obligations. We did this out because we thought it would be quicker. We had very, very little lead-in time because of change of lease on the project. So again, there were other obstacles that we had to overcome at the time. So what I hope to do today is just to share some of our experience on the project and just give you a quick overview of exactly what we did, how we did it. And again, because of the fact that we had no obligations to the client, we obviously had no EIR. So for me, that's the first thing I always ask for. What do we have to deliver? So we had to deliver nothing, which was great. But I suppose, it's the first thing I ask for. What's the EIR? So I want to know what I have to deliver. What's the LOD? What's the level of information? What am I going into a project to deliver? What am I given? So we hadn't got that. So what we did is we set out to say, well, what information is available, and with ourselves and Lynch's and with the architects on the job, we set out to create the model and to say, right, what information have we got? What technology have we got? And what resources do we have at the time to get this going? So as I was saying, we had 3 buildings. As you can see, there's A, B, and C, down on Baggot Street, and each one of them, I suppose, buildings were totally different. Within the C block, nothing was symmetrical. All the ceilings were different heights, and so the decision was made to bring obviously multi surveys in to point cloud scan the building. And again, we were looking at what technologies we had. How could we make this easy for ourselves? How could we deliver this on time? And that's exactly what we did. Because this building, at the time, like it was built around the 1970s, that building would not have been designed to hold the services that we had to put into the building. So we needed to look at this, and we needed to say, well, what have we got, and what sort of resources do we have, and how are we going to deliver this on time? So that was a big issue for us. I'm going to show some pictures of within the building on the floors. On the main floors, you had a structural beam that made a bay, and every time that we wanted to leave a bay, we had to get an ope, and we had to core through. So really, we couldn't make mistakes. We had to get that right first time. This job wasn't perfect. I know people are saying here today that it was perfect and it was right first time. And yeah, everybody has issues on projects, and we did have issues on this project. But we learned a lot along the way. And the fact is, though, every time we wanted to leave that bay, we had to get it right. We had to make sure that was right to get through there. And not only that, because we also had to fall in line with the structural guys. Because every time we wanted to get through, if it was a certain area or we had opes too close, we had to get structural beams put in place to make sure we could get through there. So we were working closely again with Cisco and with the structural guys on the job to make sure that we could make that happen. So again, that's what I was saying. We had some limited program, and another reason for that was the lease was changing. So the start of work was held up. The program was shortened because the lease was changing, and that was another issue on the project. So as I said, we had issues with the ceilings, with the floors, and we had restricted amount of risers in the building because we couldn't just make risers. This building was there, we couldn't change the building, so we weren't going in to say, we need a riser here or we need a riser there. That's grand when you're working on a new build. We had so many problems here because of the fact that we were working within a fixed building. We didn't have that comfort zone where we could ask for these extra requirements. We didn't have that. And the same way on the roof with the plant room, it was so tight, there was so many services there that we couldn't just say, let's just raise this, raise the roof there, because obviously we're fixed with planning permission, so we had got issues. This is a lovely render there, you see there, I have the temporary lights and all rendered in. So that just shows the bay is, it's kind of small. It gives you an understanding of the bay is, okay, so every time we wanted to get out of a bay, we had to get that course, so whether we're going this way or this way, it was really, really important that we got that right. You see the building, so we had seven floors, we had that big atrium, and then on the roof we had the plant. It was really, really awkward because of the concrete framing and the way that the building was, and the fact that we were really restricted on what we could and couldn't do. So we looked at the available technologies. We chose Revit, and that's what we went with. Ourselves and Lynch's worked very closely to get what we needed to get done. And we also looked at Bluebeam. You would have heard me speaking about Bluebeam before. I'm a big fan of Bluebeam. I'm also pushing it within DIT at the moment, and we use that for getting information across. Because of the really restricted program, we had to get information to site, from site. We had to get information. We need to get changes on the floor really quickly. So Bluebeam allowed us to do that. We were getting the information back and forth, and as well with the guys on site. That was a new learning curve. So we had to embrace that, and we had to look at what training we needed to bring in, and from that then we brought in, you would have heard me talking about the last time, Designer Group have a BIM training matrix. So we've done that, we created that for, again, it depends on the role within the company, but we did it for everybody in the end, for every role. And Mick Stone was here the last day. Unfortunately, he had to listen to me for 2 hours talking about EIRs and BEPs, and he probably really didn't want to listen to it. But we all need to know about this terminology. And the guys on site, they didn't really care about what I wanted to say, but they needed to listen. And I suppose the fact that we did this project, it raised our awareness. They had to listen because we had this available technology. We had Navisworks. We wanted them to use it. But the guys on site would be used to paper. They're like, yeah, send me down 500 drawings. I just want to throw it in the bin when I get another revision, when something changes. They just want the drawings. But what we did is we tried to change their comfort zone. We tried to change their mentality to say, look, use the model, take your measurements from the model. So we spent time training them. I spent time down on site with them because, you're always going to get resistance to change. That happens everywhere, when people move out of comfort zones. So I'd go down to them, and I told the story the last day. I went down to Enda, he was their project supervisor, and he says, no, I'm not using the model. I'm not using it. And I was like, boy, it has information, it has your measurements, it has everything you need. I'm not going to use it. So I did the training, I left him, I went back to the office. He rings me next week. I says, how's things? He says, the model's wrong. I was like, what do you mean the model's wrong? He says, I'm sitting here looking at it. I says, the model's wrong, I'm at the checking the measurements wrong, and it actually was wrong. So the matter of fact was, he embraced the technology. He took the time after I trained him to go in and check the model. So he picked up on a mistake, and that's good, because what we did, because we had such a short period of time, is we engaged with the site supervisors, because at the end of the day, they're the guys that build the building. We didn't have the facility on this job to fab everything. I'm not going to say we did, because we didn't. We took the low-hanging fruit, which we could fab. We take these hangers, brackets, stuff like that. We fabbed that off. That's great. But because we had such a short program, we couldn't allow for change. So what we were doing is we were changing on the fly, and all we were doing was trying to keep ahead of program. So once we got an area finished that the building didn't outpass the model, then we were okay. And that's what we did, and that's what we ensured that occurred on the project. So this is just some pictures of the building. So as you can see, it was heavily serviced. So some of the stuff we did is in there. But the section, you can see there, I just took one section of the ceiling. You can see it's about 350, 370 is the plenum space between it. It was very, very heavily serviced between the mechanical and the electrical, the lighting and stuff like that. There was minimal amount of space. We didn't, we tried our best to get everything done, to get it in there. We did have issues on the floor, because you are going to have issues with guys installing not as per the model, and that does happen. And we've seen on site now where things have changed. So where before you'd have the guys coming down to the site supervisor, dragging them up, checking it, saying, look, it says that on the drawing. Now you have the guys coming down to the BIM team, dragging the BIM technician up and saying, look at this, it's not as per the model. It's the same sort of sequence, but it's different technologies. So we can also see the layouts of the bays and how we had to go through the bays and stuff like that, and the layouts within each bay. So, you know, it was a very, very heavily serviced building, and you know, it was a great learning curve for us. So here's just I should show a zoom in of the bays, but also this is a finished picture that you can see within the building. And then I just shown just a picture of the plant room. Like, the plant room was very, very tight, very, very heavily serviced. I suppose, as I said, the solution was the point cloud scan, a CDE. So we had our own CDE, but obviously the main contractor had a CDE which we had to feed in. Obviously our drawings, we had it between ourselves and Lynch's. We set up a CDE that we fed into, and then we had our own CDE. So that causes problems, and I talked about the last day, a CDE within a CDE within a CDE causes problems, and we're all dealing with it now. So I'm sure we know the issues to that. Collaboration was a big thing. You know, sometimes mechanical and electrical don't have the best relationships, but you know, that's life, and neither do architects and services, but you know, we all have stories about that. So I'll just jump through. So the BIM knowledge and the awareness, the guys on site, as some people call them, the foot soldiers, the lads on the ground, they learned a lot from this. As I said, you know, air site supervisor learned from it, but not only that, the other day, one of the other guys, he's looking after another site, says to me, Joe, will you model up the risers for me, and can we look at modelling the plant room? Because he's seen the value on that job, we're doing it on other jobs, and we're actually doing it on probably 30 or 40% of our jobs at the moment. We're actually modelling, but we're not getting paid for it. It's not part of our remit. Obviously we make savings with coordination and other issues, and you'll see another presentation today for Gautier House. We're modelling that as well, but we're not getting paid, and it's not part of what we have to do. But we do it because it helps us with coordination. It helps us collaborate and get a better result at the end of the day. So just here I just have about the team technologies again, as I just spoke about, and then we looked at the in-house BIM team. So you know, it was really important that we got the guys engaged. We had the TV down on site. We tried to move them away from paper. It's, you know, you can't say you're not getting a drawing. You have to give them what they want. But again, you try to move them across. You try to guide them. You try to say, look, you know, would you not just do this? Would you not use Bluebeam, marker up? They did use Bluebeam. They did get it done. But also, you'd have other guys coming in on the floor that just want a piece of paper. So you get it out. So I suppose key outcomes on time and budget. Well, we didn't have a budget, but we got it in on time, because the time that we needed to get it done. We had deadlines. We had to get the model finished before the guys were installing down on site. So that was their deadline. Bluebeam, as I said, is a big tool. It's a great tool for us. We use it on every project now, from the site supervisors to the project engineers to throughout the company. Revit, obviously for collaboration, coordination, was a great tool, and Navisworks. We had our weekly workshops. It's standard. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Let's rework coordination. Generally right first time, yeah, it was right, but then you'll have guys on the floor putting it in any way they want to. That happens. You know, you can't stop that. That's just an issue with construction. But it did, and what I was happy with was that one project alone helped raise the awareness of BIM within a company, and that just transpired into you know, throughout the company, because it just gets people talking and the benefits of using it. So just really to finish up, the benefits of early contractor engagement, have the collaboration with the design team, which was another issue. We did learn a lot from this project in terms of how we run jobs, the technology that we use and how we use it. But I suppose, and everybody has their own story, it really just depends on the project. How we use the technology just depends on the project. And every project is different. You'll have different people that you've delivered with. Different main contractors have their own ways. You'll have different lead-in times, and you'll also have different deliverables. So it really just depends on what you have to deliver. Obviously, we know EIR, so that was an issue. We also had no BEP, so you couldn't hold somebody to something. You couldn't say, well, you have to deliver that. Well, that deliver what? You know, we just have an agreement. You know, a gentleman's agreement, you might as well say, because you don't have anything contractual. You can't hold anybody to something. You don't have a BEP. You don't have the EIR, which are very, very important documents. So I suppose this job for us was very good in terms of services, coordination, process, and raising awareness for us. And I hope you enjoyed my story on that project. Thank you.